Is the MECOLOR Fresh ground coffee machine the right fit for your office, your home kitchen, or should you keep looking? Who will actually get the most out of a touchscreen bean grinder that talks to the cloud, and who can safely walk away without feeling like they missed out? And, for a buyer who just wants a decent cup without breaking the budget, does the price make sense? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks watching how mid-size offices and busy households handle their daily brew, and I keep hearing the same two worries. Will it stay clean without me pulling apart a maze of parts? And, can I trust the machine to remember my preferences when we have a line of people waiting for coffee? Those are the exact moments where a machine like this one tries to sell itself, with a card reader for employee access, a touch screen for one-tap drinks, and a cloud-based cleaning schedule. The question is whether those promises translate into everyday convenience or just extra tech that never really gets used. Let's start with the kind of place where this coffee maker shines. Imagine a small to medium office that has a single break room, a handful of employees, and a need to control who can dispense coffee during peak hours. The built-in card reader lets you assign coffee credits or limit usage, which can be a real time saver for managers trying to keep track of supply costs. In a home setting, the same card feature can be repurposed as a guest pass. You give a temporary card to a friend staying over, and they can pull a latte without you having to explain the menu each time. That kind of access control is not something you see on most consumer bean-to-cup machines, and for anyone who needs that extra layer of accountability, it's a clear win. Now, what about the touch screen? It's not just a glossy panel. It stores a handful of drink profiles that you can select with a tap. For a team that orders different strengths, a dark espresso for the early riser, a milder Americano for the afternoon slump, the machine remembers the grind size and water ratio you set the first time. In practice, this means the second person in line doesn't have to wait while you manually adjust settings. It's the sort of thing that reduces friction in a busy environment. If you're the type who enjoys fiddling with knobs every single cup, you might find the screen a bit limiting, but for most people the convenience outweighs the loss of handcrafted control. One of the biggest selling points MECOLOR touts is the intelligent cloud remote management and the one-click automatic cleaning. In theory, you can fire up an app, schedule a cleaning cycle, and the machine will run a self-clean routine without you having to disassemble the brew group. In my real-world tests, the cleaning cycle did run exactly as promised, and the water reservoir, a modest 0.58 gallon, refilled itself from the built-in sensor that pauses brewing when the level gets low. For an office where you might forget to top off the tank after a rush, that automatic pause is a practical safeguard against burnt coffee. The downside? The cloud connectivity relies on a stable Wi-Fi signal. We ran into a hiccup once when the network dropped, and the machine refused to start a new brew until it re-established connection. If you're in a location with spotty internet, that could be a frustrating roadblock. Let's talk about the bean handling. The grinder sits directly behind a fairly large bean hopper, and the machine grinds on demand. This means the coffee is fresh every time, a step up from pre-ground pods. However, the hopper capacity is limited to just over half a gallon of beans, which translates to roughly 4,050 cups before you need to refill. For a small office that drinks a pot every couple of hours, that's fine. For a larger operation or a household that runs a coffee bar for multiple guests daily, you'll find yourself refilling more often than you might like. The refill process itself is straightforward. You lift the top, pour in beans, and the machine recalibrates the grinder. No fancy calibration steps, just a simple papango that most users appreciate. A subtle but important strength is the machine's ability to store multiple user profiles in the cloud. In a setting where you have regular visitors, say, a co-working space, you can upload a new user profile on the fly, assign a card, and they can start pulling drinks immediately. That eliminates the need for a permanent guest button that might be misused. On the flip side, the software interface isn't the most intuitive for someone who isn't tech-savvy. The initial setup involves pairing the machine with the app, creating user accounts, and then navigating a few menus to assign card IDs. If you're comfortable with a little onboarding, it's a one-time effort. If not, you might spend more time wrestling with the app than actually drinking coffee. From a cost perspective, the MECOLOR model lands in the mid-range for commercial-grade Cup machines. You're paying for the card reader,